The elevator doors parted on my floor, revealing him with another woman on his lap. She met my gaze, then scoffed with disdain, asking, "Is she your maid?" He instantly froze, letting her fall to the floor, and began stuttering without end. At that exact moment, I realized my retribution would be far sweeter than I'd pictured. My name's Ella. I'm 29, a third-grade teacher in Savannah, Georgia. For 2 years, I thought I was building a life with Colby Brennan, 31, a landscape architect. He was from that kind of Southern family, you know? The kind where everyone has a portrait in the historical society and an opinion on proper silverware placement. We didn't live together. Oh no, respectable people wait until marriage, according to his grandmother, Dona Eugenia. She was the matriarch holding court from her antebellum mansion, and she could end your social life with a single raised eyebrow. When she said jump, the whole family asked how high. Colby, he practically worshipped her. His entire inheritance, a gorgeous, restored historic home worth millions, hinged on staying in her good graces. Which, it turned out, made what happened next absolutely perfect. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I left school around 5:30, all set to meet Colby at his downtown office. We had reservations at this super swanky restaurant, The Gray, where you needed connections just to get a table. I was wearing my favorite navy dress, the one Colby always said made me look like Jackie Kennedy. And I'd actually blown out my hair. No teacher bun tonight. I parked in the garage, took the elevator up to the 8th floor where his architecture firm took up the whole level. I stepped out into the corridor outside his suite, and that's when I saw them. Colby had a woman pressed against the wall. A redhead in a skin-tight crimson dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Her arms were around his neck. His hands were on her waist. They were making out like teenagers at prom. I froze. My purse dangled from my shoulder. I just stood there 15 feet away, watching my boyfriend of 2 years devour another woman's face. She saw me first. The redhead pulled back slightly, her eyes met mine over Colby's shoulder, and she smiled. Not embarrassed. Not guilty. She smiled like she'd just won something. Then she looked right at me, and in this syrupy sweet Georgia drawl she said, "Oh honey, are you from the cleaning service? We're gonna need you to come back in about an hour. We're occupied right now." He thought I was the maid. The man I'd spent 2 years with? The man whose grandmother's birthday dinners I'd attended? Whose family drama I'd listened to? Whose dry cleaning I'd picked up just last Tuesday because he was too busy? He didn't even correct her. Colby finally turned around. His face went absolutely white. The redhead looked confused for a second, glancing between us. Then gravity seemed to remember her existence. She stumbled backward, nearly twisting an ankle in her designer heels. "Ella." Colby started, his voice cracking like he was 13 again. This isn't, she's just the cleaning lady," I finished for him. My voice was surprisingly calm. Because apparently that's what she thought I was. The redhead's face finally showed some recognition of the absolute disaster unfolding. She straightened her dress, grabbed her purse from where it had fallen, and actually had the audacity to look annoyed. "Colby, you said you were single." "I'll call you," she huffed. He stammered to her. This was a huge mistake. Which, of course, was probably the absolute worst thing he could have said. She clicked away down the hallway, heading for the elevator. I watched her go. Then I turned back to Colby. He was sweating through his expensive shirt, despite the office air conditioning. "Ella, please let me explain." "Save it," I said. And I just walked back to the elevator. He panicked, followed me, tried to grab my arm. I yanked away. "Don't touch me. It's not what you think, really." "Colby," I shot back, my voice flat. "Because what I think is that I just watched you make out with a woman who thought I was your cleaning lady, and you didn't even bother to correct her." The elevator arrived. I stepped in. He tried to follow. I held up my hand. "Don't." The doors closed on his devastated face. My phone started ringing before I even reached my car. "Colby." I declined. It rang again. Declined. By the time I pulled out of the parking garage, I had 12 missed calls. I drove home to my small apartment in the Victorian district. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. And right then that felt incredibly important. I changed into sweatpants, poured myself a very large glass of wine, and finally looked at my phone. 43 missed calls. 17 text messages. Each more desperate than the last. "Please answer. I can explain everything." She means nothing. I love you. Please don't do this. I didn't block his number. Not yet. I wanted him to think I might respond. Might forgive. Might give him another chance. Hope makes people sloppy. Instead, I finished my wine, poured another glass, and got curious. It took me exactly 20 minutes to figure out who she was. Instagram is a beautiful thing when you're motivated. Her name was Bellamy. No last name on her profile, just Bellamy Southern Charm. She was a luxury lifestyle and interior design influencer with 48,000 followers. Her feed was full of gorgeous rooms, styled tablescapes, and, wait. I scrolled back through 4 months of posts. That garden design? Colby's work. I recognized the stone pathway pattern he'd been obsessing over. That outdoor living space? His signature style with the curved, built-in seating. That pool area? That was literally the Henderson project he'd shown me last month. She was using his designs to build her influencer career. And based on her captions, my boyfriend and I designed this space together, spending quality time with my love planning our dream home. She'd been telling her followers they were a couple. For 4 months. My phone buzzed. A message from a number I didn't recognize. "Elle, please. I'm using a different number. I'm so sorry. Can we please talk? I'll come to you. I'll explain everything. This was a huge mistake." I stared at the message for a long moment, thinking about Donna Eugenia's Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. The annual event where the entire Brennan clan gathered. Aunts, uncles, cousins, friends. At least 40 people crammed into that mansion for sweet tea, bourbon, and enough southern propriety to choke a horse. Then I smiled. I typed back, but not tonight. I need time to process. Let's talk at your grandmother's Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'll be there. His response was immediate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. I'll make this right. I promise. Well, I'm sure he would. I had less than 24 hours to prepare. And in the South, revenge isn't just a dish served cold. It's served on the good china in front of witnesses with homemade pie for dessert. Sometimes the best revenge doesn't need weeks of planning. It just needs one night, one determined woman, and a matriarch who values truth over family loyalty. I didn't sleep much that night. Instead, I built my case. Like I was preparing a lesson plan for the world's most important third-grade presentation on why Colby Brennan is trash. By 3 a.m. I had screenshots organized chronologically, July through November. 4 solid months of Bellamy posting Colby's work while calling him her boyfriend. Testimonials from her followers. Dates, times. Enough evidence to convince anyone with functioning brain cells that this wasn't a misunderstanding. I finally fell asleep around 4 o'clock and woke up at 7 o'clock on Thanksgiving morning with a mission. First priority. Look absolutely devastating. Not revenge dress devastating. That's too obvious. I needed to look like the kind of woman who belongs in a historical mansion. The kind Donna Eugenia would want in her family. 5. Elegant. Untouchable. By 8 a.m. I was showered, caffeinated, and heading to Broughton Street. Yes, some stores open early during Thanksgiving week. Capitalism waits for no holiday. I found a boutique that catered to the Savannah Society crowd, the kind of place where saleswomen say, "That's very you, darling," while secretly judging your credit limit. I found it in 15 minutes. Emerald green. Perfectly tailored. Elegant enough for a cathedral, but striking enough to make Colby remember exactly what he'd lost. The salesperson, a woman named Patricia who absolutely understood the assignment when I said, "I need to look like I've already won," threw in a discount. Apparently my face told the whole story. 9:30. I was at the Coffee Fox on Bull Street with my iPad organizing my presentation. The barista, a college student with purple hair and a name tag that said Sage, brought my lavender latte and lingered. "You look like you're plotting something," she said. "Is it that obvious?" I chuckled, a dark edge to it. "Honey, I've worked here 3 years. I know the look of a woman preparing to destroy someone's life. Is it the redhead who's always here taking photos?" I looked up, surprised. "You know her? Bellamy." "Oh yeah. He's here constantly. Always with some guy, always talking loud enough for the whole cafe to hear about her boyfriend, the architect. She makes everyone her captive audience while she stages the perfect Instagram shot." Sage rolled her eyes. "She literally makes him rearrange his schedule so the lighting is right for her posts. The guy always looks like he'd rather be anywhere else." Her boyfriend, I repeated slowly. She specifically calls him that every single time. My boyfriend designed this. My boyfriend and I are planning our dream home. My boyfriend is taking me to Charleston this weekend. Girl doesn't shut up about him. I showed Sage a photo of Colby from my phone, us at last month's fall festival laughing at the pumpkin patch. Her jaw dropped. That's your boyfriend? Was as of last night. Oh, honey. Sage looked at me with genuine sympathy. Bellamy has been bringing him here every Tuesday and Thursday for months. Always introduces him as her boyfriend to literally everyone. Last week she was showing someone her Pinterest board for their future wedding. I took notes. Actual notes. Tuesday and Thursday. For months. Pinterest wedding boards. What time today do you need to ruin someone's life? Sage asked. Because I'm off at noon and I kind of want updates. 3 p.m. His grandmother's Thanksgiving dinner. Legendary. I'm manifesting your success. By 10:30 I was at Colby's office building. Marcus, the security guard, was working the holiday shift and looked surprised to see me. Miss Ella, you okay? Haven't seen you since yesterday. Word travels fast on an 8th floor building. Marcus, can I ask you something? That woman who was with Colby yesterday, the redhead in the red dress. Has she been here before? His face told me everything before he spoke. Miss Ella, I probably shouldn't, please, I pressed. I just need to know the truth. He sighed, looked around, then gestured me to his desk. He pulled up the visitor log on his computer. I keep digital records. Building policy. There was. Bellamy Richardson. Signed in every Tuesday and Thursday evening for the past 4 months. Always between 6 and 8 p.m. Always visiting Brennan Architecture, floor 8. I thought she was a client, Marcus said quietly. Mr. Colby always seemed uncomfortable when she was here, but she was always very friendly, very chatty. Told me once they were planning to get engaged soon. My stomach clenched. She told you that? Last month. Said she was looking at rings. Wanted my opinion on styles. I said congratulations. Thought you two had. He stopped. Realization dawning. Oh no, Miss Ella. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It's not your fault, Marcus. I took photos of the screen with my phone. Thank you for being honest. Whatever you're planning, he said as I left, I hope he deserves it. By 11 o'clock I was back home, uploading everything to my iPad. I created a presentation that would make my principal proud. Title slide, chronological evidence, supporting testimony, photographic proof. I even made it aesthetically pleasing. Because if you're going to destroy someone's life, you might as well do it with good design. My phone had been buzzing all morning. Colby's messages went from hopeful to anxious. Good morning, beautiful. Thank you for giving me another chance. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you today. Should I pick you up? We can arrive together. Oh, are you okay? You're not answering. Please tell me you're still coming. I'm freaking out. Please respond. At noon I finally replied. See you at 3 o'clock. Don't be late. His relief was immediate. Thank you. I love you. Everything will be perfect. I promise. Perfect. Right. I spent the afternoon getting ready with the kind of careful precision usually reserved for surgical procedures. Hair in a classic low bun. Makeup natural but flawless. My grandmother's pearl earrings. Simple black heels. The green dress fit like it was custom made for public vindication. At 2:15 I loaded my iPad into a tasteful gift bag, the kind you'd use for bringing wine to a dinner party. Except instead of wine I was bringing evidence of infidelity, betrayal, and 4 months of lies. At 2:30 I checked my reflection one final time. I looked like the kind of woman Donna Eugenia would proudly introduce to her bridge club. I looked like I belonged. At 2:45, I parked on Bull Street and walked up to the mansion. The front door was already open. Family members streamed in with covered dishes and wine bottles. I could hear the chatter, smell the turkey, feel the warmth of a family gathering. Colby was waiting on the veranda. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. When he saw me, he practically ran down the steps. Oh God, you look beautiful. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me another chance. I love you so much. Where's your grandmother? I asked pleasantly. Inside, greeting everyone. Oh, please. Can we talk privately first? No need, I said, patting his arm. Let's go inside. I don't want to miss anything. His relief was almost sad to watch. He actually thought I'd forgiven him. He actually believed we were going to sweep this under the expensive Persian rug and move on with our lives. Men are adorable when they're delusional. I walked into that house like I owned it. Hugged Miss Catherine. Complimented the table settings. Helped carry dishes to the dining room. I was charming, warm, helpful, the perfect Southern girlfriend. Colby's family adored me. Donna Eugenia herself took my hand and said, "Ella, dear, you look radiant. Colby is a lucky man." "Thank you, Donna Eugenia," I said sweetly. "I'm feeling very grateful today." Colby visibly relaxed. His shoulders dropped. His smile returned and he started actually enjoying himself. He introduced me to cousins I hadn't met yet, brought me bourbon and kept touching my arm like he couldn't believe his luck. Dinner was magnificent. Turkey, ham, cornbread dressing, collard greens, sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, rolls, and enough desserts to feed General Sherman's army. I ate. Laughed at family stories. Complimented everything. At 6:25, the dishes were cleared, and Donna Eugenia stood at the head of the table, crystal glass of bourbon in hand. "Family," she announced, her voice carrying that particular authority that only 83 years of being a maid can create. "It's time for our gratitude circle." 42 people settled into their seats around the extended dining table and overflow seating in the adjoining parlor. Donna Eugenia always started with the youngest and worked her way through the family, calling on each person individually. I was near the end of the circle with Colby speaking just after me. I had timed this perfectly. Little Emma stood up first, clutching her stuffed turkey, and announced she was grateful for her new puppy, biscuit, and Halloween candy. Everyone applauded politely. Donna Eugenia smiled with genuine warmth, the kind reserved exclusively for small children and people who'd never disappointed her. One by one, family members stood. Uncle Bernard was grateful for his promotion at the law firm. Aunt Lucille thanked God for her grandchildren. Cousin Patricia praised her daughter's acceptance to UGA. The circle continued, slowly working its way around the table toward me. I sat perfectly still, my iPad hidden in the decorative gift bag under my chair, my expression serene. Colby kept glancing at me nervously, probably wondering what I'd say. Would I announce our reconciliation publicly? Forgive him? Make some sweet statement about love and second chances? Oh, sweetheart, if only. When Donna Eugenia called my name, I stood gracefully, smoothing my emerald dress. 42 faces turned toward me expectantly. Colby looked hopeful. Catherine looked pleased. Donna Eugenia nodded encouragingly. I picked up the gift bag. Donna Eugenia. Family. Friends. I began, my voice clear and steady. I'm grateful for many things this year. But mostly, I'm grateful for discovering exactly who Colby is before making the biggest mistake of my life. The room went silent. Not polite attention silent. Funeral silent. I reached into the bag and pulled out my iPad, already displaying the first screenshot, Bellamy's Instagram from July, showing Colby's garden design with the caption, "My amazing boyfriend designed this space for our dream home." Last night I went to meet Colby at his office for dinner. I turned the iPad so the people nearest me could see. I found him in the hallway with this woman. When she saw me, she asked if I was the cleaning lady. Colby didn't correct her. Catherine gasped. Several cousins leaned forward to see the screen. I swiped to the next image. Another Instagram post from August. Her name is Bellamy Richardson. She's a lifestyle influencer who's been using Colby's architectural designs to build her social media career. For the past 4 months, she's been telling her 48,000 followers that Colby is her boyfriend. Swipe. September post. Here she is claiming they designed this outdoor living space together. Swipe. October post. Here she is talking about their future engagement. I walked slowly around the table, letting people see each screenshot. Donna Eugenia's face had gone from warm to ice in approximately 4 seconds. Catherine was crying quietly. Uncle Bernard, the lawyer, was leaning in to read the captions. I spent this morning gathering evidence, I continued, my voice never wavering. This is the visitor log from Colby's office building. Bellamy Richardson signed in every Tuesday and Thursday evening for 4 months, after business hours, when the office was mostly empty. I showed the photos of the security logs. Marcus had highlighted Bellamy's name in yellow for me. Bless that man. I also spoke with the barista at the Coffee Fox this morning. I pulled out my phone reading from my notes. She confirmed that Bellamy brings Colby there every Tuesday and Thursday. Quote, she always introduces him as her boyfriend to literally everyone. Last week she was showing someone her Pinterest board for their future wedding. The silence was deafening. Colby had gone white. Not pale. White. Like a ghost in a Brooks Brothers shirt. Colby has called and texted me approximately 200 times since last night, I said, returning to my seat and setting the iPad on the table in front of Dona Eugenia. He's apologized. But promised it meant nothing. He offered to buy me a house. He offered to get me a dog. A few shocked laughs broke the tension. Uncle Bernard muttered something that sounded like, unbelievable. But here's what I realized, I said, looking directly at Dona Eugenia. A man who lets another woman call his girlfriend the cleaning lady and doesn't correct her. A man who maintains a months-long relationship with someone who publicly claims to be his partner while dating someone else. That's not a mistake. That's a character flaw. Dona Eugenia set down her bourbon glass with a sharp click. So I'm grateful, I continued, that I discovered this before accepting a proposal. Before planning a wedding. Before legally tying myself to someone who thinks infidelity is solved with a golden retriever puppy. Silence. Then Dona Eugenia stood. When she stood, everyone paid attention. The woman was 5 feet 3 inches and could command a room like General Patton. Colby Brennan, she said, her voice quiet, but carrying that particular quality that made grown men tremble. Is what this young lady says true? Colby opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He tried again. Grandmother, I can explain. Is it true? The entire room held its breath. Bellamy, she was a client and things got complicated, but I never meant. Did you maintain a relationship with this woman while dating Ella? It wasn't a relationship. Just answer the question. Yes, Colby finally whispered. Dona Eugenia's expression could have frozen the Savannah River. Did you allow this woman to publicly claim you as her boyfriend for 4 months? I didn't know she was posting. Did you meet with her regularly after hours for months? Colby looked at the floor. Yes, ma'am. And when Ella discovered you with this woman, did you immediately end it and confess everything? Silence. No, ma'am, Colby finally said. Dona Eugenia turned to me and her expression softened just slightly. Ella, dear, I am profoundly sorry that my grandson subjected you to this humiliation. You have conducted yourself with more grace and dignity than he deserves. She turned back to Colby. And the temperature dropped 20 degrees. You have disgraced this family, she said, each word precise and cutting. You have dishonored a young woman who loved you, who attended our family gatherings, who helped in my kitchen, who treated us with respect and kindness. You have lied, cheated, and when caught, you attempted to buy forgiveness rather than earn it. Grandmother, please, I am not finished. Her voice could have cut diamonds. Your grandfather built this family's reputation on integrity. Your father maintained it through honesty. You have squandered it for Instagram attention and whatever else you were getting from this Richardson woman. She gestured to the door. Get out of my house. Colby stared at her. What? You heard me. Get out. You are not welcome at this table in this home, or in this family's good graces until you demonstrate through actions, not words, that you understand the gravity of what you've done. Grandmother, you can't. I absolutely can. This is my home. That is my door. Use it. Catherine was sobbing now. Uncle Bernard looked like he was enjoying himself immensely. Several cousins had their phones out, probably texting this drama to everyone they knew. Colby looked at his mother. She wouldn't meet his eyes. He looked at me. I smiled pleasantly and took a sip of sweet tea. He stood, his chair scraping loudly, and walked through the dining room, through the parlor, through the foyer, and out the front door. We heard it close behind him. Dona Eugenia sat back down, picked up her bourbon, and took a long sip. Ella dear, she said calmly, would you please pass the pecan pie? I believe we could all use some dessert after that unpleasantness. I passed her the pie. Also, she continued, cutting herself a generous slice, you mentioned earlier that you helped in the kitchen. The cornbread dressing was exceptional. Did you add extra sage? Yes, ma'am, I said. And a touch of thyme. Brilliant. You must give me the measurements. Catherine dear, stop crying and have some pie. Your son made his choices. Now he'll live with them. The dinner resumed. Awkwardly at first, then more naturally as people processed what they'd just witnessed. I ate 2 pieces of pecan pie and 1 piece of sweet potato pie. Uncle Bernard raised his glass to me at one point. Aunt Lucille hugged me on her way out and whispered, "That boy never deserved you." Around 8 p.m. as people were leaving, Donna Eugenia pulled me aside. "Ella, I want you to know that regardless of my grandson's behavior, you are always welcome in this home. You handled that situation with remarkable composure. Your parents raised you well." "Thank you, Donna Eugenia. I also want you to know," she continued, her eyes twinkling slightly, "that my grandson Sterling will be home from Atlanta next weekend. He's opening a new restaurant downtown. French Southern Fusion. You remember Sterling, don't you? Handsome boy. Excellent cook. Significantly better judgment than his cousin." I remembered Sterling. 32 chef's hands. Kind smile. We talked at last year's Christmas party about his culinary school training in Lyon. "I remember him," I said carefully. "Good. I'll make sure he has your number. A smart, beautiful, patient woman like you shouldn't stay single long, especially when there are better options in the same family tree." She patted my hand and walked away to say goodbye to other guests, leaving me standing there, realizing that Donna Eugenia had just given me her explicit blessing to date her other grandson. The South doesn't just serve revenge cold. It serves it with pie, witnesses, and a setup for your next relationship. The fallout from Thanksgiving dinner spread through Savannah faster than kudzu in July. By Friday morning, my phone was buzzing with messages from people I hadn't talked to in months. Apparently, at least 6 dinner guests had immediately texted their friends about the Brennan Thanksgiving massacre. And by breakfast, half of Savannah's society knew that Colby had been publicly expelled from his grandmother's home for cheating. The other half knew by lunch. What I didn't expect was how rapidly Donna Eugenia's disapproval would translate into actual consequences. The woman didn't just control family dynamics. She controlled half the social and business connections in Savannah's historic district. Saturday morning, I got a text from Catherine. "Ella dear, I hope you're doing well. I wanted you to hear this from me. Mother Eugenia has made certain decisions regarding Colby's inheritance. The house on Gaston Street will not be passing to him as planned. She's rewriting her will this week. I thought you should know he's facing real consequences. You deserved better. Catherine." The house on Gaston Street. The restored 1870s Victorian mansion, worth roughly $2 million, that Colby had been counting on since he was 16. Gone. I texted back, "Thank you for letting me know, Miss Catherine. I hope you're doing okay." Her response, "I'm embarrassed. Honestly, I raised him better than this. Come to brunch next Sunday. Just us girls, no dramatic grandson included." I went to brunch the following Sunday. Catherine, Aunt Lucille, and Donna Eugenia herself were there at the Collins Quarter, sipping mimosas and acting like I was already family. They asked about my teaching, my apartment, my plans for Christmas break. Not once did they mention Colby except when Donna Eugenia said, "That boy is learning that actions have consequences. Perhaps it'll build some character he was apparently lacking." But the inheritance was just the beginning. The Monday after Thanksgiving, Colby's professional life started crumbling. Turns out, when you're a landscape architect in a city like Savannah, your client base is heavily dependent on society connections. And when the most influential society matriarch in town publicly disowns you at Thanksgiving dinner, people notice. I heard through Marcus, who texted me updates because apparently we were friends now, that 3 major clients had canceled their contracts with Colby's firm by Tuesday. All 3 were friends of Donna Eugenia. One was her bridge partner. Another attended her church. The third was married to her late husband's former law partner. "Man looks like he aged 10 years. Hasn't shaved, looks rough," Marcus texted. Wednesday I ran into Uncle Bernard downtown. He was coming out of his law firm on Broughton Street as I was walking past with coffee. "Ella." He waved me over, grinning. "I've been hoping to see you. That was the most entertaining Thanksgiving dinner I've attended in 40 years. My wife is still talking about it. I hope I didn't cause too much family drama," I said diplomatically. "Drama? That was justice. And between you and me," he leaned in conspiratorially, "Colby came to my office yesterday asking if he could contest Mother Eugenia's will changes. I told him, absolutely not. And even if he tried, No judge in Chatham County would rule against that woman. She's legendary. What did he say? He actually cried. 31-year-old man crying in my office about losing a house he never actually owned. Then he asked if I could help him get his clients back. I said, no. He's not my client anymore either. I tried to feel bad. I really did. But the image of Colby crying about consequences was oddly satisfying. Thursday brought the Bellamy situation to its natural conclusion. Someone, and I have my suspicions it was one of the younger cousins at Thanksgiving, had posted about the dinner drama on a Savannah gossip forum. The story went viral locally, and people started identifying Bellamy from the Instagram screenshots that were apparently circulating. Her comment sections exploded. So, which architect boyfriend are we talking about today? Does the wife know about this post? Is this you claiming someone else's man? By Friday, Bellamy had lost over 15,000 followers. Her engagement rate tanked. Brands started pulling sponsorship deals. She posted a tearful apology video, claiming she'd been misled and didn't know he had a girlfriend, which nobody believed because I'd literally been tagged in several of Colby's old Instagram posts. The internet is undefeated. Saturday, 1 week after Thanksgiving, Sterling came home to Savannah. Donna Eugenia had, true to her word, given him my number. He texted me Thursday evening. Hi Elle, this is Sterling. My grandmother gave me your number and strongly suggested I ask you to dinner. She's terrifying when she makes suggestions. So, would you like to have dinner with me this weekend? No pressure. Well, some pressure from grandmother, but you know how she is. I laughed out loud reading it. We met Saturday night at his new restaurant, Margaret's, named after his late mother. It was in a converted firehouse downtown, all exposed brick and warm lighting. He'd done French Southern fusion. She crab soup with truffle oil, shrimp and grits with beurre blanc, fried chicken with herbes de Provence. I heard about Thanksgiving, he said over wine, his eyes kind. The whole family heard. Actually, the whole city heard. You're legendary now. I didn't mean to cause such a scene. Are you kidding? Colby had that coming for years. He's always been entitled. Grandmother spoiled him because he was the oldest grandson and it went to his head. Sterling paused. I'm sorry that happened to you. You deserved better. I'm getting better, I said, meeting his eyes. He smiled. The man had a devastating smile. We dated casually through December. Coffee dates. Walks through Forsyth Park. Dinners at restaurants around the city. He was funny, thoughtful, and refreshingly honest. No games. No secret Instagram girlfriends. Just a genuinely good man who cooked incredible food and made me laugh. Christmas came. The Brennan family had their annual party at Donna Eugenia's mansion. Colby wasn't invited. I brought Sterling as my date. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Colby's business continued struggling. By January, I heard through the family grapevine that he'd lost 7 major clients total. His firm was considering letting him go and he'd moved into a small apartment in Pooler, basically Savannah's least desirable suburb. The architectural magazine that was going to feature his work canceled the spread after the scandal broke. Bellamy had dropped to 33,000 followers and had pivoted to wellness and healing content, which apparently meant posting yoga poses and inspirational quotes about learning from toxic relationships. The comments were ruthless. Girl, you were the toxic relationship. Healing from what? Getting caught. Namaste away from other people's boyfriends. Meanwhile, I got a raise at Forsyth Elementary for my work on the new reading curriculum. My third graders won the district spelling bee. Sterling's restaurant got a glowing review in Savannah magazine. Donna Eugenia invited me to the Easter dinner planning committee, which apparently meant I was officially considered family now. February brought the final twist I never saw coming. Catherine called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Ella, I wanted you to hear this from me. Colby is moving to Charlotte. He got a job offer with a firm up there. Smaller role, less pay, but it's a fresh start. He's leaving in 2 weeks. How is he? I asked, surprising myself by actually caring slightly. Humbled. Broke. Single. Bellamy dumped him in December when her follower count dropped, which was poetic. He asked about you last week. Wanted to know if you were happy. What did you tell him? That you're dating Sterling. That you look radiant. And that he lost the best thing that ever happened to him. Then I told him to pack his boxes and learn something from this disaster. Colby left Savannah on March 1st. I know because Sterling and I were having brunch at the Collins Quarter that day, the same restaurant where I'd had brunch with the Brennan women, and we saw him driving past with a U-Haul attached to his car. Sterling saw me notice. You okay? Yeah, I said honestly. I really am. Good. Because grandmother is hosting her birthday dinner next month and specifically requested that I bring you. Fair warning, she's going to ask when we're getting engaged. She asks me every time I see her. It's been 4 months, Sterling. I'm aware. I keep telling her that. She says, when you know you know. He grinned. She knew after one Thanksgiving dinner that you were a keeper. I laughed. Your grandmother is terrifying and wonderful. She really is. She also rewrote her will. Did you know that? I heard something about that. The Gaston Street house. She's leaving it to me now. Said I'd have better use for it than Colby ever would. Something about shared values and character. He took my hand across the table. She also said I should propose to you in the garden there when the magnolias bloom. Direct quote. Sterling, I'm not proposing. Not yet. I'm just saying when an 83-year-old woman who controls half of Savannah gives you romantic advice, you listen. The magnolias bloomed in April. Looking back now, a year and a half after that Thanksgiving dinner, I can honestly say finding your boyfriend making out with someone who thought you were the cleaning lady was the best thing that ever happened to me. I know how that sounds. Trust me, I wouldn't have believed it either when I was standing in that 8th-floor hallway watching my 2-year relationship implode. But here's what I've learned. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. And sometimes, it takes an entire family with impeccable social connections to make sure that trash stays gone. Sterling proposed in April, exactly when Donna Eugenia predicted. In the garden of the Gaston Street house with the magnolias in full bloom. We got married that October in a ceremony at the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist with 200 guests. Donna Eugenia actually cried during the vows. Catherine told me I was the daughter she'd always wanted. Uncle Bernard gave the most hilarious toast about how I'd upgraded within the same family tree, which showed excellent practical judgment. Colby sent a card from Charlotte. Just a card, no gift. Said, congratulations, you deserve to be happy. Sterling threw it away before I could overthink it. We live in the Gaston Street house now. Donna Eugenia signed it over to Sterling as a wedding gift, with the stipulation that we host Thanksgiving dinner once she's too old for such nonsense, which we all know means never. The woman will be hosting Thanksgiving dinners from beyond the grave if she can manage it. I still teach 3rd grade at Forsyth Elementary. My students still ask why I smile so much. I tell them it's because I love reading and grammar, but honestly, it's because I wake up next to a man who brings me coffee in bed and never once has made me question whether I'm valued. Sterling's restaurant earned a James Beard Award semi-finalist recognition in June. Margaret's is now one of the top dining destinations in the Southeast. He works brutal hours, but he's never missed a family dinner, never canceled a date night, and never once has made me feel like an afterthought in his life. That's the difference between a good man and a mediocre one. A good man shows up consistently without needing public humiliation to learn how. As for Colby, last I heard through the family grapevine, he's still in Charlotte, working for a mid-size firm doing residential landscaping. Nothing glamorous. No magazine features. No society connections. Just regular work for regular people, which probably builds character or something. Catherine visits him occasionally. She says he's learning humility, which is Southern for finally growing up at 33. Bellamy pivoted to life coaching after her influencer career tanked completely. Her Instagram now has about 12,000 followers and she posts things like, everything happens for a reason, and trust the journey. The comments are still occasionally brutal. The internet never forgets and Southern women absolutely never forgive. I blocked her after the wedding, not out of anger, just out of complete disinterest. She's irrelevant to my life now, which is the best revenge of all. Indifference. Donna Eugenia turned 85 last month. We threw her a massive party at the house. Her house, really, since Sterling and I both know we're just borrowing it until she decides otherwise. She's already planning to live to 100 out of pure spite for anyone who suggested she slow down. At her birthday dinner, she pulled me aside, bourbon in hand as always, and said, Ella, dear, I want you to know that the best decision Colby ever made was being stupid enough to lose you. It brought you into this family properly. Sterling is a better man because you chose him. And I get to have my Thanksgiving dinners with someone who actually appreciates good cornbread dressing. That's the closest thing to an I love you that Dona Eugenia gives. And honestly, I'll take it. Sometimes people ask if I'm grateful for what happened. If I'm glad Colby cheated. Glad I found out. Glad everything fell apart so spectacularly. And here's the truth. I'm not grateful he cheated. I'm grateful I found out before wasting more time. I'm grateful I had the dignity to expose it publicly instead of suffering quietly. I'm grateful his grandmother valued character over blood relation. I'm grateful I didn't settle for someone who saw me as optional. But mostly I'm grateful I learned that revenge doesn't have to be loud or violent or destructive. Sometimes the best revenge is just standing up at Thanksgiving dinner, telling the truth with receipts, and letting natural consequences do the rest. Sometimes karma doesn't need your help. It just needs an audience and a matriarch with a will to rewrite. I pass Colby's old office building sometimes on my way downtown. The architecture firm is still there, but his name was removed from the directory. Someone else works in his office now. The 8th floor where I found him is just another floor in another building in a city that's moved on completely. I never stop the car. I never slow down. I just drive past on my way to somewhere better, usually with Sterling's hand in mine. Usually laughing about something ridiculous one of my students said that day. Because that's the thing about moving forward. You actually have to move forward, not backward, not sideways. Just forward into a life where you're valued, respected, and loved by people who show it consistently. The South taught me that revenge is a dish best served cold. Dona Eugenia taught me it's even better served in public with witnesses and consequences. And life taught me that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well while the people who underestimated you watch from a distance. Sterling and I are trying for a baby in the spring. Dona Eugenia has already started knitting blankets. Catherine has already planned the nursery colors. Uncle Bernard has already made terrible jokes about keeping the good genes in the family this time. And somewhere in Charlotte, Colby is landscaping suburban yards and learning that actions have consequences that last longer than anyone warns you about. As for me, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. In a house filled with magnolias, married to a man who values me, surrounded by a family that chose me back, teaching children who think I'm magic because I can explain grammar. Living in a city that watched me stand up for myself and decided I belonged. Not bad for the woman someone once mistook for the cleaning lady. So, tell me, if you were in my shoes that Thanksgiving, how would you have handled the gratitude circle? Would you have been as direct? Or would you have waited for a different moment? I'm really curious to hear what you think.